I'm Bakhtiar Sanov. Welcome to Africa News. Let's see the top stories. A major summit is underway in Nairobi, bringing together policymakers to shape the future of healthcare in the continent. Mali's military leader Assimi Goïta says the situation is under control after recent insurgent attacks. And Nigeria is boosting its defensive abilities with a new locally developed technology. Mali's military leadership is under mounting pressure after coordinated insurgent attacks exposed fresh cracks in the country's security grip, with senior figures vowing retaliation and armed groups gaining ground in the north. The violence is raising new questions over stability and the role of Russian-backed forces.
Following a series of deadly insurgent attacks across Mali over the weekend, the country's military leader, Assimi Goïta, has vowed to neutralize those responsible. West Africa's Al-Qaeda affiliate and a Tuareg-dominated separatist group targeted Mali's main army base and an area near Bamako's airport. They also pushed Russian troops supporting government forces out of the strategic northern town of Kidal. Goïta said the situation is under control and promised to continue rebuilding the West African nation.
As I speak, security measures have been stepped up. The situation is under control and search and clear operations, intelligence gathering and security operations are continuing. No violence, no intimidation, and certainly no desperate attempts at destabilization will be able to reverse the course of our country. The rebuilding will continue and our sovereignty will be strengthened. Our people, standing tall and resilient as ever, will emerge from this ordeal.
The statement comes after meeting Russian officials, following an earlier statement from Moscow that it is seeking stability in the West African country. Malian Prime Minister Abdoulaye Maïga said the attacks were aimed at seizing power and dismantling the country's republican institutions.
What was the objective of this terrorist group? There were essentially three. One, to sow fear and doubt. We are not afraid, we will never doubt, and we will never be afraid. More than mere terrorist incidents, the enemy's objective was to seize power by dismantling the institutions of the Republic and putting an end to the process of rebuilding and building a new Mali.
The attacks, which led to the death of Defense Minister Sadio Kamara, have triggered a scramble for territory across Mali's vast desert north. This raises the prospect of significant gains by armed groups that have shown an increasing willingness to strike neighbouring countries and analysts say could eventually set their sights further afield.
China is opening its market to Africa, planning to scrap tariffs on imports from all countries with diplomatic ties. The move aims to boost exports and deepen economic links. A-News correspondent Mahnur Maktoum has the details.
China has announced it will extend zero tariff treatment to all African countries with which it maintains diplomatic relations, a move aimed at deepening trade ties and expanding its economic footprint across the continent. The policy is expected to cover all 53 African states that have formal diplomatic relations with China, effectively removing tariffs on a wide range of exports from Africa into the Chinese market. The decision builds on earlier preferential arrangements and signals further upgrade of economic cooperation under the China-Africa framework, including long-standing development and trade initiatives. Officials describe the measure as a way to boost African exports, especially in agriculture, minerals, and manufactured goods, while also addressing trade imbalance concerns. Analysts note that while China remains Africa's largest trading partner, the actual benefits will depend on how easily African producers can meet Chinese import standards and scale up export capacity. The announcement also comes during efforts by Beijing to strengthen ties with developing regions and reinforce its role in South-South cooperation, positioning trade liberalization as a key pillar of its foreign economic policy. Mahnur Maktoum, A-News, Beijing.
Nairobi is hosting a major event designed to reshape healthcare systems across Africa. The World Health Summit for Africa brings together policymakers, health experts and global partners. Discussions are focused on strengthening primary healthcare, improving system integration and expanding access through digital solutions. Delegates are also examining scalable approaches and ways to enhance cross-border cooperation for more efficient and equitable health systems. Outcomes from the summit are expected to inform policy, attract investment and strengthen healthcare partnerships across the region. After years of leaving South Africa in search of better opportunities, a growing number of citizens are now heading back home. The shift is being driven as much by global uncertainty as a desire to return to family and familiarity.
While some international narratives paint a bleak picture of life in South Africa, government figures suggest a quieter trend is emerging. A growing number of citizens are choosing to return home. Recruitment firms working with South Africans overseas say more people are interested in coming back. The trend is driven by global instability and a rise in the cost of living in places like the US, Canada and Australia.
Trends, though, recently showcase that in the past year and a half, we've seen about a 25 to 27% increase in inquiries of people wanting to return. The reasons people return has always been friends and family, and that has remained steady throughout. I think obviously the global uncertainty is without a doubt a massive cause. So more and more we're seeing people return home and continue working for their company abroad, but virtually.
For many, leaving South Africa meant pursuing opportunity abroad, building careers abroad and experiencing a different life. But for some, returning is driven by something more personal. The Peters family moved to the UK for career advancement, but after 7 years, they decided to move back home.
For me, it was family, and my children were very close to my parents. And we know, the crime is a massive issue. But again, you learn to live with things. You learn to live within those parameters. So don't only listen to one group of people. Do your homework, and if your heart is really in it, you will find a way to make it work.
For Kimberly Richmond, the decision to return was always part of the plan. She spent years abroad, knowing that the perception of life in South Africa is not how it's portrayed.
I always wanted to come home. I really, unfortunately, media always focuses on the bad, like on a continual basis. So you think you're going to walk down the streets and get hijacked all the time, which is not the case. I think the opportunity is for people that are professionals to come back.
In 2022, nearly 28,000 South Africans returned home, according to government statistics. Currently, about 1 million are living around the world. For those coming back, South Africa's challenges are still there. But against a backdrop of global uncertainty, the draw of home and familiarity is outweighing the reasons to remain abroad.
Nigeria is turning to homegrown innovation to tackle evolving security threats, with new technologies now being pushed closer to the front lines.
Nigeria is stepping up efforts to strengthen its defense capabilities as a local technology startup unveils a new generation of battlefield systems designed for modern threats. Terra Industries, a Nigerian defense tech company, has introduced a range of autonomous systems, including interceptor drones, mine detection vehicles, and battlefield intelligence software.
Today we are unveiling new defense systems such as our interceptor UAVs, our minesweepers, ground vehicles that can detect IEDs on the ground, and our battlefield intelligence software that will be able to automate the military planning and coordination process. But beyond that, today is also the day that we show just our readiness for battlefield operation and actual forward deployments onto the front lines.
The launch marks a major shift for the 2-year-old company, which had previously focused on commercial infrastructure security and is now moving into direct military operations. The systems are designed to address key challenges faced by Nigerian troops, particularly the growing threat of improvised explosive devices, or IEDs, which remain a leading cause of casualties in conflict zones. Officials say the development reflects a broader push towards defense self-reliance.
protecting Nigeria and Africa's critical assets, championing defense sovereignty through indigenous technologies, captures the very essence of our national aspiration and self-reliance and technological advancement in defense. Today marks not just the commissioning of a facility, but the unveiling of a bold vision, one that reinforces Nigeria's commitment to safeguarding its sovereignty through indigenous capability and innovation.
Among the technologies on display were unmanned ground vehicles capable of detecting explosives, as well as interceptor drones designed to neutralize aerial threats without relying on costly missile systems.
The solutions that we are unveiling today, we've been working on these solutions for months, since last year. We have done a lot of research and development, and these solutions are unique because there is no other company that is bringing this on board for our troops in the field to use for real-life problems the challenges that we're having. For example, problems with improvised explosive devices that we're having in the Northeast, now in the Northwest. The highest casualty we are sustaining is through improvised explosive devices. The solutions we are going to unveil today will be very useful to our troops.
Terra Industries has also secured major backing, raising tens of millions of dollars from international investors and signing a joint venture agreement with Nigeria's State Defense Corporation earlier this year. The company plans to expand further, including building a large-scale drone manufacturing facility in Ghana as it positions itself at the center of Africa's growing defense technology sector.
A shortage of life-saving nutrition supplies is putting children at risk in Somalia. Aid agencies warn the situation is rapidly worsening as clinics struggle to cope.
A worsening humanitarian crisis is unfolding in Somalia as drought, hunger and global supply disruptions strain an already fragile system. In the southwestern city of Baidoa, displaced families are seeking treatment at overstretched clinics after extreme weather forced them from their homes, leaving many in camps with limited access to basic services. Children are being treated for severe malnutrition with ready-to-use therapeutic food, a peanut-based paste essential for recovery. However, supplies are running dangerously low.
I noticed my daughter was unable to sleep and was ill. She became extremely thin, just skin and bones, which made me realize she was suffering from malnutrition.
Across the country, health workers say clinics are struggling to cope as the number of malnourished children rises while critical stocks continue to dwindle. Nearly 500,000 children under 5 are suffering from severe acute malnutrition.
Some children's nutritional status has already worsened. Ready-to-use food stocks are also very low, while the number of children is increasing because many centers are without supplies.
Aid agencies say global shipping disruptions linked to the war in Iran are delaying or halting deliveries of life-saving supplies.
What we've seen is that there's delays, but there's also cancellations of shipments of medical supplies, but also nutrition commodities. As IRC, we've seen this in real life happening, where we had a shipment of therapeutic food that we had sourced from India that was stuck at the port, and the shipment was stuck at the port mainly because of disruptions to the supply chain.
With Somalia still reeling from years of drought and funding cuts, aid groups warn the situation could deteriorate further. For many families, the stakes are immediate, and survival now depends on whether life-saving aid can reach them in time.
That's all we have today on Africa News. Thank you for watching and stay tuned to A News for continuing coverage.